You know, Porthos, I could not give him the particulars without naming our friends. To name them would be to commit them to ruin. So I merely said they were 50 and we were 2. There was firing. Nevertheless, I heard, he said, and your swords, they saw the light of day. I presume, that is, the night, my lord, I answered. Ah, cried the cardinal, I thought you were a Gascon. My friend, I am a Gascon, said I, only when I succeed. The answer pleased him, and he laughed. That will teach me, he said, to have my guards provided with better horses, for if they had been able to keep up with you, and if each one of them had done as much as you and your friend, you would have kept your word, and would have brought him back to me dead or alive. Well, there's nothing bad in that, it seems to me, said Porthos. Oh, mon Dieu, no, nothing at all. It was the way in which he spoke. It is incredible how these biscuits soak up wine. They are veritable sponges. Gimblou, another bottle. The bottle was brought with a promptness which showed the degree of consideration D'Artagnan enjoyed in the establishment. He continued, so I was going away, but he called me back. You have had 3 horses foundered or killed. He asked me. Yes, my lord. How much were they worth? Why, said Porthos, that was very good of him, it seems to me. 1,000 pistoles. I said, 1,000 pistoles. Porthos exclaimed. Oh, oh, that is a large sum. If he knew anything about horses, he would dispute the price. Faith, he was very much inclined to do so. The contemptible fellow! He made a great start, and looked at me. I also looked at him. Then he understood, and putting his hand into a drawer, he took from it a quantity of notes on a bank in Lyons, for 1,000 pistoles. For 1,000 pistoles, just that amount. The beggar not one too many. And you have them. They are here. Upon my word, I think he acted very generously, to men who had risked their lives for him, and besides had done him a great service. A great service, what was that? Why, it seems that I crushed for him a Parliament councillor. What, that little man in black that you upset at the corner of St. Jean's Cemetery? That's the man. My dear fellow, he was an annoyance to the cardinal. Unfortunately, I did crush him flat. It seems that he came to himself, and that he will continue to be an annoyance. See that? Now, said Porthos, and I turned my horse aside from going plump on to him. He owed me for the councillor, the pettifogger, but, said Porthos, if he was not crushed completely, ah, Monsieur de Richelieu would have said, 500 crowns for the councillor. Well, let's say no more about it. How much were your animals worth? Porthos. Ah, if poor Mousqueton were here he could tell you to a fraction. No matter, you can tell within 10 crowns. Why, Vulcan and Bayard cost me each about 200 pistoles, and putting Phoebus at 150, we should be pretty near the amount. There will remain, then, 450 pistoles, said D'Artagnan, contentedly. Yes, said Porthos, but there are the equipments. That is very true. Well, how much for the equipments? If we say 100 pistoles for the 3, good for the 100 pistoles there remains, then 350. Porthos made a sign of assent. We will give the 50 pistoles to the hostess for our expenses, said D'Artagnan, and share the 300. We will share, said Porthos. A paltry piece of business, murmured D'Artagnan, crumpling his note. Pooh, said Porthos. It is always that. But tell me, what? Didn't he speak of me in any way? Ah, yes, indeed, cried D'Artagnan, who was afraid of disheartening his friend by telling him that the cardinal had not breathed a word about him. Yes, surely, he said, resumed Porthos. Stop, I want to remember his exact words. He said, "As to your friend, tell him he may sleep in peace." "Good, very good," said Porthos, that signified as clear as daylight that he still intends to make me a baron.